Have you guys ever thought of starting your own podcast? Well, it's pretty easy, especially when you got the right partners. Buzzsprout is hands-on, the easiest and best way to launch, promote, and track your podcast. Your show can be online and listed in all major directories like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more within minutes of finishing your recording. So follow the link below and you can start for free or you can get a paid subscription. It's up to you. But if you do, it helps the channel out. So let's go. Hey guys, welcome to episode 60. And we're going to give you guys a little update on my feature film. So we're flipping the script today. Let's get into it.
Let's put the radio on. I'm done speaking.
This is mine.
Something's cooking.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Hardwood podcast, where we talk about your craft and the culture. I'm your host, Hardwood Rod, and we're talking today about my feature film and what's the status, what's the update. And we're going to get into all the specifics. And you know what? I think I might do this for the next couple weeks until I release a trailer. What do you guys think about that? Yay or nay?
Sure.
Well, this week I've been so busy. As a matter of fact, I've been busy this whole year. I've been kind of just all over the place, to be honest. Of course, I started shooting my feature film Q3 of last year. But like everything else, these last couple of years, delays and a lot of how would I say this? Rescheduling, things that are out of our control. So it's been pushing. I've been pushing. I think I pushed the date 2 times already. I have a date, tentative date for May 5th of this year to release my film, and that's a tight deadline. No pun intended, as this is the sequel to Deadline, and let's get into it. Shall we? So what's the update? What's the status of DeadZone? Well, we're 65% done with it. And I'm kind of happy where we're going with as far as the direction and where I wanted to take the story. Here at Forthcoming Films, which is my production company, we try to take things, another notch, right? Next level, if you will, right? So, the story comes back from my short film Deadline. So we're kind of piggybacking off of that, and I kind of want to expand the story because, it's hard to tell, a complete story, especially the one I'm trying to tell, in 15 minutes. And, this is pretty much my first feature film. So we're going above 45 minutes. So, I'm trying to aim for that hour. That's the sweet spot. So it's a lot of work as far as kind of planning, prepping, shooting, editing, promotions, marketing, all that stuff, right? It's a whole thing when you're, not just for a feature film, but just for anything, as far as if you're trying to write something, plan it, and then you're trying to shoot it. And then you're trying to, get it done in post and all that stuff. That's just half of the work, I feel. And then, the next step is just kind of promoting it and just kind of trying to get it out there, right? So, but that's the stuff that I like to do. It's all that stuff, every phase, I enjoy. And there's phases that I, sometimes they kind of get to me here. But pre-production, writing. But anyways, so that's pretty much where I'm at as far as the film goes. So like I mentioned, I think I might be kind of having some different episodes that kind of relates to not just the film, but just the process, right? So, today I kind of wanted to give a little update Just had a meeting with some of the cast members on, I showed them a clip of the film, and I'm like, just like ecstatic. I'm like a little kid just trying to show them like, hey, this is what I did.
There you go, baby. You're earning it.
My kids, they come home or from school and they have their little drawings and stuff. Yeah, that's me right now. Kind of showing everybody, hey, look at this, but I'm trying to get their feedback, right? Like, what do you guys think, right? What can I do better? But, I always say it's going to be hard to get everything 100%, and, as a director, you want to keep things kind of tight, but at the same time, you want to get feedback, right? So that's kind of, the process right now, but, excuse me. So right now, like I mentioned, 65% done.
Hey, man, come on, man. Come on.
Some of the things that have helped me kind of gauge and kind of keep a structure to this, a couple things, and we'll get into it here in a bit. But the first thing, right, when you're organizing a story, and as I'm pulling my stuff up here, when you're organizing a story, right, things have to make sense. They have to be, as far as continuity, like you have to have things kind of line up to where if you shot this like 2 months ago, I have to make sure that what we shot 2 months ago aligns with what we're shooting or continuing to shoot for that scene, if that makes sense. So, hairstyle, haircuts, wardrobe, just all the little things that I have to, little hiccups along the road where we get delayed or we just have to continue shooting. So far, we haven't had to reshoot anything. We are going to have to do some voiceovers, but that's normal. But just kind of keeping things afloat, right? That makes sense. So I'm using OneNote. That's if you guys haven't heard of OneNote, it's pretty much what it sounds like, right? You take notes, and what I like about OneNote is that it's organized to a point where you could organize by tabs and time, right? So whatever happens, I know what time and when I put it in. But for my film, I have things all like I use it just to organize, and obviously like all my like the location, the scenes, and I color correct or I color tab everything that I know that's the scene, that's the color for this scene. So I use that same color in my editing program, but we'll get into that maybe in another episode. But the one thing that has come in handy as far as using OneNote is that I'm a type of person that gets ideas in the most random situations. So the good thing about OneNote for me is that, I always have my phone with me. So I always use my phone, which I use the app, the OneNote app. And I quickly, just start writing something. I have an idea like, oh, okay, so-and-so is in the room and is thinking about planning to kill this person or whatever it is, So like all these, and what I've learned is that I used to do this, but I used to get an idea and be like, okay, I'll write it later. No, 10 seconds later, I'll forget about that idea, and I hate myself for that. So all the time, it could be a dumb little, like, just something that you just remember, or something that he could be wearing or holding, or anything that could help me tell my story. I have to write down on my OneNote app here, especially when I'm on the go. So I write it in, and it saves it to where I'm back on the computer on my desktop, and it's there. So I know, okay, he wants to kill this person. Okay, now expand on that. So that's pretty much what has been kind of carrying this whole story where, because it's so complex, right? This story, it's like it takes place like 20 years from now, and it's more of a we got it's a more technology has advanced, if you will. So, but I'm trying to dive into a more complicated story where it's more science driven too. So I have to get a lot of my ideas out sometimes, and OneNote helps me out. So OneNote pretty much helps me out. By the way, this is not sponsored by OneNote. By the way, OneNote is a Microsoft app or application. So if you guys didn't know that, but but I use it for not just my creative stuff. I use it for everything else. My podcast. Every episode has its tab, and I use notes for it. How billing, how my house stuff, work related things, just everything that I could possibly organize is on my OneNote. And then I always have access to it if I'm on the go, if I'm on the road, traveling, whatever I'm on. I keep my OneNote on my phone, so I could just write it down, organize it, and then all my notes go with me wherever I need to. And then it's just super helpful. So that's pretty much how I've been kind of really organizing everything as far as driving ideas or expanding on the story, my locations, right? Everything has to be kind of coordinated with the location. So I know that, okay, this location is for this scene. And then, boom, I have a check mark for every scene that we're done with. So we got like 9 scenes that we've shot. We got like 6-7 more scenes to go. But some of the hardest scenes are kind of done. So I was kind of stressing about a particular scene because it's, it involves so many people. I guess I'll give it away here, but yeah, it's we shot in a ballroom setting, so a lot of moving pieces, time constraints, a lot of moving factors here. So glad we got that out of the way. So excited to kind of put the final touches on that. But what else? Another thing that has really helped me kind of just know what's next or what's going to happen in the story, or kind of fill in the blanks, the voids, if you will, right? That is my story clock notebook. So that's why I got confused earlier, like OneNote notebook. So I was like, whatever. But this is called Story Clock Notebook, and it's by Plot Devices, and it's very helpful because you guys can't see it, but it's pretty much a clock type graph or diagram, and you structure your story clockwise like a clock. So picture a clock, I guess, and for, I don't know, every minute, every 10 minutes, or for every scene, that's your, I guess in this case, your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your hour would be like a scene in the movie, and then you build off of that. So the key thing about this is that, you organize, or at least like the way I have it, the scenes here are pretty much, how would I say this? They're either going to mirror each other, or they're going to bounce off each other. So what I mean by that is that every scene on my clock here, something can relate to it, or I can build off of it from a opposite side of the clock. So what happens at 3 o'clock will happen at 9 o'clock, or in some way using symmetry, you're gonna, or at least I can build off of that scene from 3 o'clock and just pretty much fulfill it with that same idea. So at 3 o'clock, we got the antagonist, and he's about to embark on a journey that involves him buying a horse, and then they're saving a bank from being robbed. I'm just thinking out loud right now. So we go back to the 9 o'clock, right? So that's the opposite side of the clock, right? And I could, all right. So what can I do on that scene? Being that I have no idea what I'm gonna write, right? What can I do to kind of get a solution, I guess, right? Since we're on the opposite side, and that's pretty much towards the end of the story or the film. So in my mind, I'll be like, okay, so at 3 o'clock, which is towards almost like the beginning of the film, we got our hero buying a horse and going to a bank or saving the bank from being robbed. Okay, so what can we do here at 9 o'clock that's pretty much at the climax or at the end of the climax? So we could say our hero was able to buy more horses because the bank gave him more money because he saved them from being robbed. I don't know. That's just something I just came up with.
Pathetic. Truly pathetic.
So now, right, we just came up with something that pretty much piggybacked off the opposite side of our clock, right? Using symmetry. So that pretty much, we created a pattern, right? So what happens in one event, you can create a pattern from the opposite side of the clock, and helps your story stay in balance or have structure. So, that's why we get different character arcs, right? The character, his life is normal, then something bad happens, then he learns from that, and then he gets back, and he's better than what he was in the beginning, and now he conquered his whatever obstacle it was. So we create character arcs, right? Tracing the story threads and just looking for reoccurring events or themes in our story. So that's what helps me with this story clock notebook, is that I can fill in the voids in a story where I don't know what's going to happen here, or how can I leverage this event in my story, and just, okay, so this happens here. All right, let's pay it here forward with, okay, this event here, because it makes sense, from a symmetry standpoint. So, it's kind of like, you're paying off that event, and then you're kind of, okay, boom. We get that scene that, okay, it makes sense, right? Because in that earlier part of the story, you kind of, you got your character arc or your hero, and he conquered the antagonist. So that's pretty much where this kind of helps me out. And, there's, I like to create my stories. Obviously, it's common, but, you got your act 1, you got your act 2, and your act 3. You cut it in a pie, right? Your act 2 is going to be the biggest act. I would assume, at least, when you're building a story, right? Your act 1 and your act 3 are your beginning and end. So that's kind of like, you cut your pie, right, in three pieces, and you're trying to get the most chunk of it. Your climax. When your tiny breakthrough, your arrival at solution, and your shadow gains upper hand are going to be at your kind of climax of your whole story. So this has really helped me kind of organize the story, the characters, and where the story is heading, right? So, story clock notebook is something, if you're, into just organizing your thoughts, your ideas, this helps out. It doesn't have to be for a film. It could be for anything work related. If you're trying to organize a project, you get kind of like, these kind of voids in you get like a blank moments in your idea or your project. This can help you build off that and get ideas. So definitely recommend the Story Clock Notebook from Plot Devices. So those are two things that have really helped me out. So the OneNote from Windows or from Microsoft and the Story Clock Notebook are kind of the driving factors in helping me kind of do this feature film. So yeah, I mean, as far as the update, we're, like I mentioned, I'm trying to get as much as done as possible before we get to mid-April. But man, it's gonna be a tough one just to fulfill that deadline. We'll see where it goes. But we're gonna continue this DeadZone series. It's gonna be like a film, a film pre-production, production, post-production series, just kind of like following the process, I guess. And definitely we're gonna have some of the actors, talent that are in the film, and then we'll kind of talk and we'll kind of feature them, talk about the film, talk about their skills, what they're doing, all that stuff. So that's pretty much it. Man, this is episode 60. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. It's crazy that we made it to episode 60 here. Shout out to all the guests. So I guess road to 100. Road to 100 it is, guys. So for that, I'll see you guys next week. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated as we go. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. And I'll see you guys next time. Let's go. Let's go. Would you like to be on the podcast? Got something to talk about? Make sure to head over to the website at hardwoodrod.com. Leave your name and the topic you'd like to discuss, and I'll add you to the calendar.